All right, well, welcome to Dallas. We're really excited to have you here. We're here with James Ponsel, the director of The Spectacular Now, which is actually one of my favorite films I've seen this year. I'm really excited about this. I'm excited for people to see it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
My name is Sutter Keeley.
I got everything that I need right here. I've got a job, I've got a car, I've got a beautiful girl.
I was the life of every party. You gotta live in the moment.
It's about this. This is beautiful.
Hey. Hey.
Where the hell am I?
Do you live around here, Sutter?
How do you know my name?
You go to the same school.
You're,
I'm Amy.
That's what I was gonna say. Nice to meet you, Amy. What's your story?
I don't really have any stories.
What do you mean? Everyone's got a story.
I don't know. I'd like to think that there's more to a person than just one thing.
You know, I gotta tell you, Sutter, Amy Finicky is just a strange choice for a rebound.
You're 17 years old. You don't have an ex-boyfriend?
No.
Really?
Sutter, guys don't look
That's
at me
shocking.
like that. I'm like,
Yeah, absolutely. Guys look at you like that.
No.
Amy, you're absolutely beautiful.
oh my God, no.
And if she falls for you, what happens then?
Should we take our shirts off?
My sister, she's having this like fancy dinner party. Would you want to go with me?
Yeah, what time?
Is that this is one of those rare films about teens that actually gets teens, and is that why you responded to the material?
Yeah, I mean, when I read the script, and then which Scott Newstetter and Mike Webber, who are about Murder in the Summer Road, when I read Tim Tharp's novel, like it just struck me as one of the most honest depictions of adolescence I've ever read. Quite specifically, it reminded me of sort of what it was like for me to be 16, 17, 18, and it didn't disrespect the characters, it doesn't talk down to the characters. It allows them to be really complicated and contradictory and hypocritical, and just respect them as much as you would respect a film about adults.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of those things too that the kids, although they weren't necessarily teenagers, they looked like teenagers, but they weren't made up, and the camera was just on them, and I think that was an important part of it. They didn't look dolled up and look 20-something, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've just seen plenty of bad movies about teenagers where it feels essentially like a fashion catalog come to life, and everybody's chiseled and looks like a model and is wearing skinny jeans. And those movies are the ones that tend to age really badly, I think, because you'll always regret casting bad actors. And if fashion is your priority, then the movie's going to age as bad, as quickly as that fashion as we move on from that fashion. So really, the goal is to create something timeless with really phenomenal actors who felt like regular kids, and then to allow whatever it was about them, blemishes, scars, anything, that's okay. Real people have that. Yeah. The goal was to let an audience see themselves in these characters.
Yeah, well, and you did that, and Miles really carries the star. Where did you find him?
I saw Miles first in Rabbit Hole, acting opposite Nicole Kidman, and he was obviously no Nicole Kidman or no of her, and she was amazing in the movie, but Miles was just this jolt of electricity in that movie. I'd never seen him before, blew my mind, and then I saw him in the Footloose remake, which is a completely different film, but he was so funny and so likable, so dynamic, and he reminded me of a lot of guys I grew up with, and they were such different performances that I had to sit down and meet with him, and I just realized he's a brilliant actor, really cool guy, and he created those characters, so he understood Sutter, our main character, really understood him at a DNA level.
Yeah, and of course the two leads together. There's such a chemistry. And how did you find her as well?
I'd seen Shailene Woodley in The Descendants, playing George Clooney's daughter. I think like most people, and she blew me away. Again, it was sort of like with Miles, where I obviously knew who George Clooney was. I had no idea who Shailene Woodley was, and she just stole the movie for me. She felt so alive, and there was this. When I first saw her on screen, I was like, she's kind of bratty, But then by the end of the movie, she broke my heart, and I realized that she was someone dealing with pain. And she was bratty in exactly the same way I was when I was that age. And then she was given a really nuanced performance that was really intelligent, and it wasn't someone's idea of what it was to be a teenager. It really felt like what a young person was like.
Yeah, well, and it was nice to see you work with Mary Elizabeth Winstead again after Smash, and is that kind of nice to have some good familiarity going on?
Yeah, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is just one of my favorite actors. I could watch her do anything, and she's one of the nicest people alive. But I mean, Smashed, really, she was my last movie. She was in every single scene of it. And in this film, she plays this 14-year-old, a very, very different character. And it was really fun just to collaborate with her to create a character that was completely different than the character, from the last movie we did together. She's fantastic.
Yeah. Now, I think every one of these films that you're smashed before, and then every film you're going to work on from here, you're going to have great stories and great memories from What do you suppose it is from this one? Is there a day or scene, something that's going to stand out to you years from now?
Yeah, I mean, what was really amazing for me was that we were able to shoot the Spectacular Now in Athens, Georgia, which is where I was born and raised. So there was a level of intimacy and familiarity and specificity that I got because, well, I mean, we shot in the houses and streets where I grew up, you know, the high school, where, I mean, all these places were places that I knew really, really well. I mean, there were so many scenes. We shot it in the, you know, the dead of summer, you know, in August. But I mean, there's one scene in particular, a long walk and talk with Miles and Shailene, sort of about 5 minutes of conversation. We did it in a single take, where they end up kissing for the first time, where the scene just feels clumsy and awkward and anxious and hopeful, and it actually feels to me like what, you know, First Kiss should feel like, and they give such amazing performances. I could watch them endlessly.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, and it's a special movie, and you could tell just by the reaction of the crowd. So it's got to be fun for you to go in and, you know, tour around and get to watch some of these screenings sometimes, right? Yeah,
no, I mean, you don't make a movie like in a bubble. You want people to see it. You want to hear what people have to say, and anybody's reaction, whatever the reaction is, it's all valid. So I'm just really excited to see how people feel about these characters, because they're complicated characters. It's easy to fall in love with them. It's not always the most healthy relationship. So I love hearing the way people sort of respond to the character and what they think happens to them afterwards. Yeah. Well, and on that note, the ending, which we won't give away here, you know, I had some people wondering, maybe it left it a little bit open, shall we say? Yeah. So can you talk about that choice? Yeah, I mean, the real hope, again, you know, this was adapted from a novel that Tim Thorpe wrote. The ending's a little bit different than his book, but it injects a tiny glimmer of hope. It's not a fake sort of quote-unquote Hollywood ending, you know, where the characters change in an unrealistic way. But I think, you know, the characters have been through a lot, and there's a lot of emotion by the end of the film, where I think the audience wants good things for these people, even if they've kind of screwed up at times. But I think there's that glimmer of hope, and I think it kind of leaves you dangling there a little bit, kind of wanting to know what's going to happen in their lives. Hopefully, I mean, that's certainly the hope.
Are you kind of drawn to the stories of flawed characters?
Yeah, I mean, I've never met anyone who has their life completely together, where they don't have any, like, you know, where they have a perfect relationship with their parents, perfect relationship with their husband or wife, where everything's perfect. You know, most people I know, you know, have elaborate systems of coping mechanisms that they, you know, just to get through life, and you know, and they're whatever it is. I don't judge, but I'm fascinated by it, because I think that's actually what makes us human.
So what is next for you?
You know, I'm working on a number of projects. You know, I'm adapting a science fiction book that I'll direct, and adapting the musical Pippin, and I'm going to direct a script that I didn't write about Hillary Clinton, but which was still Hillary Rodham in the 1970s, in a very specific time in her life during the Nixon impeachment process.
Right, we've been hearing a little bit about that, but what can you tell us so far about that?
You know, right now we're just really trying to get the script perfect. You know, I mean, it's not sort of one of those biopics that's cradle to the grave, as they say, like from the time she's 5 to like right now. It's a very specific window, and it's, you know, we're just trying to get the script sort of airtight, where, you know, we want the audience to have an emotional investment in the character. We want them to really care. It has to work on story level, but also it's going to have a lot of critical analysis, you know, political critical analysis from the left and the right, and it just needs to be, you know, needs to be sound. So hopefully we'll make that movie in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and sci-fi after that. That's great.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, I'm pretty omnivorous. I watch all kinds of movies, watch a lot of TV. So I hope to make movies in all kinds of genres where you're invested in the characters, where you care about them, and you hope for them.
Okay. Well, the last question is the show's the Drew Pearson show. And Drew famously thought the Hail Mary catch. And I think everyone has a Hail Mary moment in their life where they just had to go for it. Maybe it worked out, and it didn't look like it was going to, but it did. What do you suppose that was for you?
I think that for me was, I had met my she was then my girlfriend, and she was living across the country from me in a tiny town in Virginia, and I decided, you know, and I was flying there and going back and forth, and that could have gone on forever, but ultimately I decided to move to Virginia to be with her and live there for a while, and now we're married, and she's the love of my life, and you know, I just went for it and left my home, left my friends to be with someone who's just rocking the world.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on that, too. And congratulations on the film.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.